I left in 2013, and what has happened over the last, so almost 12 years. Disappointed, really, if you think how it's all has evolved, because I don't recognize anything anymore what we've had at that particular time. If I would walk into Carrington or the club, I would probably not recognize anything that we've had when we were there, and that's the same when I see Man United play. It's a little bit, it goes for two on and off the pitch, unfortunately.
Yeah. They have something called Project 21 to win the 21st title. When you look at it from the outside, how far away do you think they are from that?
They're miles away. They're miles away because, I think if you look at Manchester United, what they've lost is a kind of an authority, a kind of a fear factor, a kind of an identity, so to speak. When Man United came to town, they rolled up, this is what you're going to get. At this moment in time, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, testament for a lot of things, a lot of changes that haven't taken place. So many managers have come and go, which changes constantly about, playing styles. So that constant winning culture that Manchester United had over the years has been diluted. And they look being further away than ever before. We got Amarim in at this moment, who's very keen on persisting to that 3-4-3 system, where everybody is debating and questioning, is that the right way forward?
Yeah.
I find it, my personal opinion is a bit short-sighted, in that respect. And I think I think if he's worded it different from the start, he would have not get hunted by it every single day, because constantly the media will come back to him. You're losing again today. Is it because of the system? I think he should have said, listen, I prefer the 3-4-3 system. I had a lot of success with it. I know it can work. I'm going to try to make it work at Manchester United. However, I need to have a look at the squad first. I need to look at how I can best use the players and utilize their strengths, because that's what you want to do. And I need to get to know, obviously, the Premier League and the opponents and everything. There's so many variables that have an effect on whether that system is going to work or not. So if he would have done that, he would have been far more flexible in getting to grips with the size of the task anyway, never mind losing or winning games. Now, when you win games, things become easier, because you can get your message across easier. So I also do think that you never should stuck yourself to one particular system, because a system is nothing else than a framework, how you're going to start the game. Yep. The moment the whistle goes, the moment the ball goes and rolls around the pitch, a 4-4-2 system flows into a 4-3-3, a 2-4-4, whatever the game, however the game pans out. So that is, I think, not the most important thing.
So do you think we get too fixated with these idea of systems?
I do think so, yeah. I think the only thing is that it's nothing else than a framework. I mean, we always used to use with Sir Alex Ferguson, and in terms of, playing the game, it was mostly like, a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, depending on whether we played with one holding six or two holding six, or depending what kind of wingers that we played and all that. So you had so many flexibility in it. There was by far more structure when we were defending, in that respect, because there needs to be structure, there needs to be discipline. Everybody needs to know the job and do your job. However, in possession, there were certain, golden rules, so to speak. But when we were coming to the attacking side, it was all based around creativity and inventivity, because that creates unpredictability. We didn't want to stifle that. So yes, we showed the players this opposition have conceded a lot of goals in this way. So the best way to do it, blah, 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 blah. But then it was the players to find the solutions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you start to try to dictate the decision-making too much to the players overthink, slows down the thinking process. Because I try to do the right thing for the manager instead of what is right for that moment in time in the game.
Yep.
And that is what we wanted to play. We wanted to empower the players, give them responsibilities, and be accountable for their own actions, when they had the ball.
So, I mean, just as you made that comment there about allowing the players to find their own solutions and not overthink, reminds me of Wayne Rooney talking about when Van Gaal was in charge at United, and he describes the process of almost overthinking, that he wasn't allowed to take a shot instinctively. The instruction was you had to take a touch and then shoot. How do you get that balance then between giving them structure and giving them that freedom to solve a problem as they see fit?
let's be honest, parenthood gives you the highest highs and the lowest lows. It can drain you, it can challenge you, it can push you to your limits, your time, your energy, your focus, it's all gone. And how often do you feel like you're just running on empty? And then it's so hard to show up and be that parent that you really want to be. And high performance, by the way, isn't just about big wins. It isn't about victories. It's about showing up consistently for the people and the things that matter the most. And that is why I take Vitals from Heights. This is just 2 capsules. You take them once a day and it's got omega-3, all the B vitamins, iron, D3, 20 essential nutrients. And what's really important actually for me personally is that I know this is designed by doctors and dietitians. I know it's been tested again and again and again. It takes me seconds to take these capsules, but it gives me that stamina, that focus, that better sleep, that mental clarity that just lasts and lasts. All of the things that I think help me to be the dad that I want to be and not the dad that's so tired he can't play with his kids. And if you don't trust me, maybe you'll trust the science. Maybe you'll trust the 120,000 people that take Vitals and they take it for a good reason. So if you want to feel sharper, more focused, more in control throughout your day, just go to heights.com/HP and use the code HP20 for 20% off, or easily just click the link in the description.
There's a distinctive difference between, like I said, there's no leeway, no points of discussion when it comes to your tactical plan regarding defending. You know, if you say we're going to defend right from the front, you know what I mean, and we're going to press really high, the players need to be key on their starting positions and the cues when to press. It's not like, you know, if you don't do that, then people start running off and their own thing, you know, which will never work. That has to be really fine-tuned. So I give you an example. For instance, we did a lot where we had the right wingers tugging in or the left wingers coming in, and we wanted the ball go to the left back, for instance. The cue to press was when the right winger was pressing him down when he played it back. That was the cue.
Okay.
A clear cue. Everybody can see it. Back pass means now we go. And then everybody squeezed up. Everybody had to press, whether the ball or the goalkeeper or an area, and people had to squeeze up. Everybody knew that. And you're almost certain about the outcome, which is the ball will be played, you know, long.
Yeah.
You know, so the defenders had to be ready to pick up, and then the midfielders again turning around to pick up the second ball, and you go from there. Or they just kicked it out of the park. But those were certain things. If you defend from a deep block, everybody knew the positions. Like I said, that's clear. There's no coming away from that. On the ball, it was always about that. We always used it in our tactical meetings, like. Tactical meetings and helping players to prepare for the game is all about trends and identifying trends, weaknesses in opponents. You know what I mean? And we were so strong in our own beliefs in what we did as Man United. So we always used to call that meeting "How we will win the game," which was basically always based around 80 to 20%, 75 to 25%, depending on opponents that we played. What I mean by that is that 20 to 25%, I would highlight the opposition.
Okay.
This is where they are, current league form, this is the system, these are the key players, this is the current trend, da-da-da-da. But 75 to 80% was all about us. This is how we will win the game. That's a statement. That's what players want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, and throughout the season, you can back that up with really strong material. If we, for instance, wanted to press really high and aggressively, I would make sure that we had clips of our own to show, listen, this is what we did in this particular game, and look what it is, you know, and you highlight the cues, the pressing, the aggressiveness, how you win the ball back, and what you did after when you win the ball back, because then it all becomes about regain, attack, or regain, retain. You keep the ball. Yep. That's what players need to know. And, you know, and like I said, those are just a constant on-rolling themes, you know what I mean? If players are clear on that, it's fine.